Beef tenderloin. Let's cook it. Beef tenderloin, classic holiday dish that's a favorite amongst my family. We normally do either Thanksgiving or Christmas at my brother's house, and this is typically what he prepares, and the family absolutely loves it. Lots of ways, that you can do it. Obviously, here at the Meat Church, we love to use smoke, so we're gonna smoke it, and then we're gonna sear it at the end. You could do things like sous vide, it's really good that way. You could roast this in your oven, but like I always say, we don't do anything indoors. So here's how we started out. When you buy a whole beef tenderloin, this is how it comes. You can get these at your grocery store, you can get them at Costco. I get them from my friends, 44 Farms down in Cameron, Texas. Never ever product means no hormones, antibiotics. It's amazing beef. This is a prime grade, so we know this is gonna be delicious. You can also go with a lower grade like a choice, and it would make an amazing beef tenderloin. It's super, super tender, and with the way we're gonna cook it, it's gonna be amazing. So how did we get to this point? I trimmed the whole tenderloin down just a little bit, and there's a few ways you can do this. We're gonna cook this whole, and we're trying to feed a couple families, so I would like to kind of maximize the meat that I cook. If you were going to buy a whole tenderloin and trim this out and cut it down into filet mignons, you would actually take this a little bit further than what I did. So let me talk about what we did and how we got here. I want this to be nice and even. I did trim the kind of end off here, the tail. Up to part was pretty thick. You can also leave that on and fold it under if you would like. So I pulled, a lot of this stuff off the top by hand that I could, and then I ran my fingers along inside this natural seam to remove what's called the chain. So I separated that out, and then, very important step, I removed the silver skin here off the bottom. That's super important, and don't be intimidated by it because it's really tough, and with a sharp knife, you can go right underneath that and you can remove it with ease. You'll notice I actually left the head on this, and that's because there's a lot of meat here, and I'm gonna butcher twine this up to make it even. And as you see, this is fairly even. It obviously gets a little smaller here, but if I really form this like a tube, it's actually quite even all the way down to about right here. And so that's gonna cook really, really even. Now down here, which will be a little more cooked than this section, I'll just serve that to someone in my family that likes their beef cooked to a little higher internal temperature than what I like. So pretty simple. So we took some butcher twine. I'm gonna go the very simple route of cutting 5 or 6 strings here, and I'm going to tie them just every couple inches to help this keep shape. You can skip this step if you want, but as you cook it, it could kind of flatten out. So in order to keep it nice and round, we're gonna tie this as I just mentioned. Here's the nice and simple way to do it. All right, we've got it all nice and trussed up and good to go. So now I'm gonna slather it and season it. Now you could have done this before you put the butcher twine on. I just thought it'd be nice and clean to show you how you do this directly on the meat, so it doesn't really matter. I'm gonna slather with an English mustard, much like you would do with a Beef Wellington. So I'm using just this Coleman's mustard here that I get at my local grocery store. This is optional. You certainly don't have to slather. I like the flavor element. It's it's subtle, but the color that it gives is really nice. And like I said, it comes from basically what you would do with a Beef Wellington. Let me take this one off. So my buddy Kevin Van Dam called me just before the start of deer season, and if you fish, you know Kevin Van Dam. And he said that for his family, they prepare beef tenderloins the night before the season opener. And he asked me if I had any advice. And I said, you know what? I love a mustard slather. And if you guys follow him on Instagram, he cooked 2, one with a slather, one without. And he claimed the slather was the way to go. All right, let's season this up. I'm going with the beef flavor that I love, which is our holy cow, which is salt, pepper, garlic. And then I'm gonna come across that with our garlic and herbs. So just really traditional beefy pairing that I love. Certainly you can use, you know, whatever the heck seasoning you like. You could also do a dry brine on this, which I'm not doing today, but a dry brine would be where you could salt this. So if you guys watched our dry brine turkey video, you could have put a heavy application of kosher salt on this and let it sit for a while. I've been known to do that with a lot of different beef. If you've got the time, I think that's a great application. You could either leave it on for about an hour and rinse it off, or you could brine it the night before with salt, and then you could leave the salt on it. And you could basically, it will pull the moisture out of the meat, the salt will absorb back in, and then you could just add pepper to it the next day. So this garlic and herb, I always say, is a pretty delicate seasoning. So you can put a lot of it on here, it's not gonna hurt you. But again, season with whatever you like. And we're gonna let this sit here for at least 15 minutes. But with this big cut, I'd love to give it a little more time if I were you. Give it up to an hour or so. So that's looking mighty fine. Okay, let's talk about cooking while we let this sit here. So today I'm gonna choose to reverse sear, which means I'm gonna smoke it at first and sear it at the end. You could do a couple other options as well. You could just smoke it until your desired internal temperature. You could sear it at first and then smoke it to your desired temperature. But we're gonna smoke our mill scale 94-gallon offset, which is an amazing cooker. You guys follow me, you know that I love this, but you don't have to smoke it. You could cook this on your pellet grill, your Kamado style grill, your kettle, whatever the heck you wanna cook it on. But we're running 275 degrees, post oak fire. Temperature wise, instead of going really low, to me, 275 is gonna leave this in long enough to get plenty of smoke. You could even cook it hotter if you want less smoke. We're gonna go to 110 internal temperature, and then we're gonna pull it off and we're gonna sear it back here on our mill scale yakitori. So I'm just gonna let this sit here. I'm gonna get 15, 20 minutes and I'll be back and we'll get to cooking. Seasoning's adhered, so let's put it in the pit. We're not gonna do anything to this. I'm putting the head in closer to the fire. Since the tail is a little smaller, we'll put that towards the back. I'm not gonna baste it, do a thing. Again, we're cooking it to an internal temperature of 110 degrees in the dead middle. If you like yours even more well done, then you'll cook it further, but we'll talk more about that when we go to sear, so I'll check in with y'all when we're closer to 110. While the beef tenderloin's cooking, let's put together a sauce that I love. So let's make a horseradish cream. Very, very simple. I go 2 parts of mayonnaise to 1 part sour cream and a bunch of fresh horseradish. So 2 to 1. You know me, I use Duke's mayonnaise. I like the cider vinegar twang in it. And this is, you know, it's horseradish to taste. It's a lot. This is like 1/3 of the jar that I had. Stir it up. Salt and pepper to taste, but you know me, I don't salt and pepper anything. Holy cow. And lastly, a little bit of fresh lemon juice. As our friend Cody Sharp says, cheek of a lemon, so it's the perfect amount. Stir it up. And if you want to get real bougie, put a little truffle in it. You know I can't afford real truffle, so I'm gonna hit a little black truffle oil, optional. But man, this goes great, especially at the holidays. We're gonna put this in the fridge and let it chill. I'm gonna go get my yakitori grill over here ready, because we're getting pretty close on the tenderloin and we're gonna need to sear it here in just a minute. Off the fridge I go, see y'all in a second. All right guys, it's been 1 hour exactly. $111 right there. She looks beautiful. All right, I'm gonna make sure my fire's hot over here on the yakitori, let this rest for a few minutes, and then we're gonna sear it. All right, guys, it's been about 10 minutes. The fire over here in the mill scale yakitori is nice and hot, as you can see. So let's go ahead and cut off this twine, because if you don't, when you sear it, it's gonna pop off anyway. Okay, all right, glove up. So I've got a cotton string glove on here with the nitrile glove pulled over the top, because I don't like to use tongs. It's just easier for me. So we're gonna put this over here on this hot fire. I don't know how hot it is. It's over 500 degrees. And I'm just gonna sear this for, 2-3 minutes or so till we get a nice char. Roll it around, get all sides, bring it back to the block to rest. So depending on your desired doneness, I like medium rare. Remember, we took it to 110 in the smoker. While we rested it, it probably got up to 115, 116. Gonna sear a couple minutes. I'm trying to go under medium rare for my liking, but if you like this cooked higher, then just go higher with it. All right, guys, it's been on, we went with probably about 2 minutes a side total. I said 2-3 minutes, to clarify, I meant 2-3 minutes per side, kind of rolled it around. And again, it's gonna be a preference thing for however you like it. So I'm gonna go grab the horseradish cream out of the fridge, and I'm ready to get into this. All right, guys, this looks awesome. It smells awesome. I'm ready to go. So get the Montana Knife Company chef knife out here, and let's see how we did. Tell you how we did. Nailed it. This right here, honestly, is perfect doneness for me personally, what I like. So before I even get into testing this, I'm gonna tell you, again, if you like it cooked further, then we went to 110. You can go closer to 120, or you can go pull it at 110 and just sear way more than 2 minutes per side if you want. But for me, that right there in the middle, this is how this middle may be a little difficult for y'all to see. That's how it would have looked come off the smoker, and then this exterior is from all that sear that we did. But man, I can tell you right now, actually I won't tell you. Oh my God. That's the most tender thing I've cooked all year. I've said before, more tender than your mother's love. You could gum this. It's so tender. Dang, I ain't mad at it. Sorry, hold on. Okay, holy cow, garlic and herb, amazing flavor profile. But first off, this 44 Farms beef is insanity. I mean, it's just so good. Oh, forgot my horseradish cream. It's just me eating here, so glove please, suck it. That's my house. That's awesome, you gotta make that. All right, so let me tell you something. This video is supposed to be coming out a little bit before Christmas. If you wanna order any of this stuff online, be mindful of shipping transit times this time of year. You might wanna consider hitting the dealer locator and shopping local. So that you don't have any potential issues, because this is coming out like 10 days or so, 11 days before Christmas, if we stay on track. This was awesome. This is definitely in my top 5 things that we have cooked all year. So I would highly recommend this for your holiday meal. This will go in our holiday playlist. We got everything from all sorts of, pork tenderloins and turkeys, and but who the heck eats pork when you can eat 44 Farmers beef all day long? Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. Weekly how-to outdoor cooking videos. See y'all next time.